That was a fly rotate. We love testing the fun transitions. And welcome to another episode of Barefoot Blockchain Basement. My name's TJ. We're going to be talking about crypto news of the day with some of your favorite friends and characters. Well, I was going to say something, but he's getting ready to move. I was going to introduce our good friend the Magic BJ has returned, and he's looking at cameras right now, so you won't be able to see him. But when soundboard ? Hey, we have a soundboard, and we know how to work it. Welcome, Mike Drill. Welcome in the chat. Fun to have everybody here. And we've had a lot going on the last few days. It definitely hasn't been boring in crypto. So for those of you that were saying they were ready for Bitcoin to just do something, well, it done did it, or CZ did, or SBF did. Somebody. Oh, that was the other thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fix the TV real quick. Change it to the wide.
Wide.
What's up, everybody?
Hey guys.
So listen, for the last I'll introduce myself. My name is Brian, and I just wanted to say it's been pretty boring in crypto for the past 5 months, and I think all of us knew it was kind of gonna go chop, chop, chop. And it's weird that this kind of bad news is exciting. I think we're going to talk about today, how low will Bitcoin go, and and how much it hurts. But it's good to see action, and I'm just excited that we're actually seeing movement in the space, and real change is happening right now. So I'm excited for today's show.
Hello, everyone. I made a social media platform last week, and I am Prepper Crypto.
Hey.
My name is Drew.
Wait, you made an entire platform?
And whole platform.
No,
Watch out, TikTok.
An account.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
okay.
But yeah, I kind of feel the same. Like, it's finally exciting again. I feel good about getting the chance to kind of figure out, my entry points, my next entry points, what I want to move into and stack into, preparation for, what I see will likely be another bull run. But, macroeconomic might change my intention.
Yeah, let's not get, we're in the midst of a bear market. Let's not get onto the bull run yet. It was fun. Don Alt tweeted this morning, it was just since yesterday, it's actually, now it feels like a bear market. Like, this is what a bear market feels like. Gut check. Are we sure we still believe in crypto? Oh, we got Hellfire Spawn. Buy order just filled at 16,777. I like that number. We actually had a buy order fill right at 17,000 as well. I know they asked on the live stream this morning where our orders are set. So we have a lot to get into today. Obviously, the main story of the day, FTX Binance acquisition. Is it going to go through? First thing that broke around 11 a.m. this morning was it looks like probably not going to go through at this point. Who has exposure to Alameda and FTX? Bottom price hunting now. I mean, let's see. We're sitting at, we're sitting at 16,838 right now. Where's the bottom going to be? We're going to be talking about that. But scroll back up in the chat real quick. I did want to come to somebody's question because I thought it was a good one. Oh, can you scroll that chat or no? Actually, I got it right here. There you go. Chief Grizzly. Also, Mr. Techno Goody said, don't tell Ben, but I might be starting to like this show better than the morning show. So don't tell him. If he hears that, we'll get him down here sometimes too when he gets back from time to time, and then we'll balance that out. But wait, no, I still need it.
I got you.
Okay.
Chief Grizzly asked, I hold Solana and currently down 80%. Is it worth it for me to sell it or just risk it and hold it and pray that it isn't dead and could rebound down the road? Thanks, guys.
Yeah, scooch over.
Sit back. You're blocking Allie.
Yeah, there you go.
We're trying to get views over here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Allie.
Okay, so that's a tough question.
That's a
Obviously,
toughie.
I've been fortunate. I was just talking about this morning that I pulled everything out of both FTT and Solana. Obviously, we've been talking about that here recently on this channel. But I would have been had I not just gotten lucky, I would have been in the same situation. So there's different approaches for different people here. A lot of it, I would say, depends on your experience and your time in the space, what your overall goals are, how much you had in. There's a difference between being down 80% on $500 or being down 80% on $10,000. If you're down 80% on a couple $100 and you're talking, you got, 20, 30 bucks left in there, might as well let it ride. If you've got 10,000 plus and you've still got a few $1,000s left, it's a more interesting discussion at this point. If it were me, just assuming it's $10,000, you've got $2,000 left, I'd roll it into Ethereum most likely. I mean, I'd get out of Solana. I'd get into something else that's got hammered. I think if we go look real quick, I mean,
I have something real quick to say on this.
Yeah, go ahead while I'm pulling this up.
This is actually crazy. So today, literally, I have someone text me that hasn't talked to me in forever. And they're like, what else should I sell that SBF holds besides Solana? Like, so I think that we're going to see a lot of FUD on certain projects that may be associated with him in the short term. Now, a lot of those will end up recovering because it's just panic selling. But maybe Sol is one that will not so much.
Oh, really? It's like I've been saying that.
Yeah, see, and to me, like it doesn't, the number one attraction with Solana so far that most people have had is it's a VC coin. It's going to be propped up by VC and big money. Well, all that money has no confidence left. They're not going to be propping it up anymore. They're trying to cover their holes and, you know, keep the whole ship going. No. I do see Riddled with Puns and Chemistry Bro back in here chatting it up. I do want to see Riddled with Puns. We were talking about it yesterday. You were in a short. Oh, you're still in your FTT short from 1860. I don't know if you want to throw some P&L numbers out there, percentages. You know, what kind of money are you making on that if you're still in that short? I was right before the show went live. I was like, man, I hope he's in there. I want to know how that short's going.
I love it.
You're making that could be some life-changing money right there.
I shorted Bitcoin last night from 18.6 down to 17.3 today.
You did?
And my account's up 50%. My leverage trading account.
That's awesome.
I want to, like, at this point with where Solana is, I think a lot worse things than even what the last week is coming for SBF. So I think it's going to get worse for FTT holdings in Solana, and I would either learn how to leverage trade like I did with my Solana bag. I just had some fun with it. I only had like a few $100s, and I threw it on leverage trading and made 100 or 200 and just learned a little bit with it. If you're holding a lot, I would move it into an ISO coin.
Yeah, ISO 222.
Yeah, I'd be moving it into an ISO coin big time.
Real quick, Drew, list off the top of your head some ISO 222 coins that you know.
So Quant is one that I'm eyeing to get into if it hits $120 or around the $100 mark. I am really interested in HBAR. It's also rumored within there. Algo. I know I've been ignoring AJ and all his things because I'm trying to look at the other side of the railroad tracks. There's a lot of stuff going on with ISO, but Algo, HBAR, Quant, Constellation, DAG, obviously XRP and Stellar. Those are the ones that I'd be moving into. I think they're well undervalued for where the space in general is going. So
there you go. So we got, real quick, pull this up for me, BJ. I went to Riddled with Puns. Here he is, 274% entry. Oh, that's just a little scalp there. So he's been crushing it. Let's see, 4%, 550%. Yeah, he's been on a roll here. So he said go check out his Twitter for the P&L. So
that's awesome, man.
Congratulations, Riddled with Puns. Awesome. I know you've had a fun few days between trading. And here's Bitcoin price for everybody. Man, it's painful when you can't see it. Our big old heads block it. It's falling, just falling off a cliff there.
Also, we have a new follower, Hot Lechuga 42. Well,
welcome.
Hello.
Hot Lechuga. All right, we got 100 in the chat. So, yeah, it's been a wild few days. So somebody asked, what bags am I married to? I would say at this point, the only bags I will not sell would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. Those are the only ones that, we completely would, we're decided to hold through this stuff. I still think we have lower to go. I guess while we're on this price discussion, we've all talked about different levels, different price points. Or actually, let's talk about the pain here a little bit first. So because we've got, Tether, Circle, Coinbase have all come out denying they have exposure to FTX and Alameda. And like, as we know, just like we saw with the Terra Luna stuff and with Three Arrows Capital, when one of these big firms go under, there's all kinds of stuff wrapped up in loans and creditors and things underneath it. So that's what I was saying this morning. There's going to be more fallout that comes out of this. Now, we can see it's not Circle or Coinbase, which obviously have very close ties to the United States, U.S. government. But there are going to be some other companies that do that I want to dig into here in just a little bit. So amid the liquidity crisis that fell over crypto exchange FTX and trading firm research, some of the largest crypto companies face calls for transparencies to let users know if there are risks. However, executives assured the community they do not have exposure to either of the troubled firms. So first of all, before we even really get into this, what do you guys think when it comes to like believing major firms when they're, you know, like obviously we knew SBF and some of their, I forget the lady's name that was in charge over at Alameda, came out and said like, oh, we have all the funds to cover, you know, consumer funds. There's no liquidity crunch. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
Do you even believe that anymore? Is there anybody you believe in crypto anymore, Drew?
Well,
I
quick question
believe
before
Yeah.
Drew,
Bitcoin.
is it like other filings where they have like 6 months to say that? Because wouldn't they be able to say we don't have exposure and then 6 months later be like, sorry, we actually did?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be like, I think we're going to start to see it in the next few days. Obviously, as the balance sheet, we saw a partial leaked balance sheet this morning when it was a lot of crypto assets and things like that. So it's going to start coming out in this due diligence of Binance supposedly acquiring FTX, which again doesn't look like that's going to go through at this point. So, but there's discovery happening right now. Obviously, everybody's digging through the books and they're looking at, okay, how bad is the hole? Loosely reported, we're talking about a potentially $6 billion hole in the balance sheet, which ironically is almost as big as what was going on with Celsius and Voyager and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty major. According to what, you know, rumors, at least, SBF had told CZ, you know, somewhere between 5 and 10 billion. It's looking like that number is coming out close to 6 billion. It's absolutely insane. And so there will be fallout from this. I mean, obviously Voyager purchase was part of it. They were supposed to be making consumer funds whole on that. Who knows what's going to happen with the Voyager funds at this point. And so there's a lot of people that thought they were getting money back, thought they had good loans, thought they were going to get paid back, that are just going to be finding out you're not going to get paid back. And that's going to cause some fallout. So
I feel like sometimes these exchange leaders hide the truth in plain sight. 'Cause like last summer, SBF said there are some exchanges that are secretly insolvent.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
Like mine.
And no one thought. Like,
Nobody
he's
thought he was talking about
himself.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know. Yeah. I feel like the truth is always hidden in plain sight. Takes a lot of reading between the lines. And, you know, I mean, Allaire, I mean, he's, you know, they delist XRP. They're the first place to delist XRP. And then they come in, you know, 3/4 through the battle against the SEC and amicus brief in support of XRP and all this jazz. So it's a lot of double talk. I think they get their cake and they eat it too. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. And where'd it go? Chemistry Bro said, I don't trust anyone saying they don't have exposure. 90% of people saying we are okay end up being not okay very soon after. And it's true. We talked about it when Voyager came out and kind of gave that, you know, it's the confidence vote. Like, don't worry, you know, your funds are safe. Nothing, there's no problem. Like, inevitably, almost every single time we see somebody do that, very soon after we find, oh, funds are not safe. Oh, there is a liquidity crunch. There is a huge problem going on here.
I have a question on this topic.
Yep.
So I thought surprisingly today, I got this notification from Femex, which I use to leverage trade. And it said, learn about Merkle tree proof of reserve and why reserve fund is so important for a crypto exchange. So I feel like we're seeing a lot of CZ tweeting, you know, recently about, oh, in full transparency, here's this, here's that. What is this Merkle tree proof of reserve?
Bless you.
Yeah.
I haven't found out. I saw the proof of reserve or proof of assets come out all over the place this morning.
I feel like that's kind of what's being put out there right now as like a new thing that exchanges are like, kind of what CZ's trying to put of like, hey, let's make sure we have transparency on the blockchain. And it's interesting that even other exchanges are now hopping on this bandwagon to hopefully try to legitimize themselves.
Legitimize.
I know.
Like
I
that.
can't even talk.
Legitimificate.
We're going to keep it.
It's French.
Legitimize themselves.
Legitimize the demons.
No, yeah, I know. It's a great point. I think it's something that's critical. I was talking about it on the morning stream that hopefully something positive comes out of this. We don't allow custodial crypto exchanges to operate like banks with fractional reserve banking.
Right.
We know that's the problem that got us here.
Right.
We need to see, like you're saying, these Merkle trees, for those of you guys who don't know, it is just like a data structure. It is very popular in blockchain. It's a way... According to, like, if you just look at Google, Merkle tree is a total of all transactions in a block and generates a digital fingerprint of the entire set of operations. Here's a small example of kind of what it looks like. It's just a way of arranging information. You know, so very common within blockchain. It's, you know, efficiently stacking all the data in a way that can be run and verified. And that's kind of what he was saying with proof of reserve Merkle trees where it's very easy. Anybody can click this one button like, hey, I want to go put, start trading my funds on this exchange. Let me go see, what do they have on their balance sheet? Do they have a one-to-one reserve for all user funds, or are they at a, again, fractional reserve banking used to allow banks to operate at a 10% reserve. Then that got reduced all the way down to 0% reserves recently because they didn't have 10% and they had to change it. So
that's what you guys talked about on the morning stream. Like, it was so in my mind, like with every mushroom cloud, there is a silver lining. And I think that the transparency, recapturing transparency and public trust would be super great, because that was like my first reaction in the newsroom with Johnny when I saw Luna. I was like, great, looks like we've just reinvented fractional reserve banking, but at a much faster pace so we can collapse much quicker. So that's how I kind of, my aggravation was right there with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what a lot of people were frustrated about when it came to Sam's regulation framework. It just seemed like it was TradeFi for crypto. It was just a more efficient way of doing what we have already, stock market 2.0. And that's not moving us forward. That's just making a select group of people richer and richer. And it's not the point of crypto whatsoever. So, yeah, I agree. Getting some positive movement out of this is going to happen. It's inevitable. And I think, Brian, you alluded to, I saw the list too. OKCoin was on it. I'm pretty sure, or KuCoin was on it. And there was a couple other ones. Might have been OKX. I can't remember. That came out and said they were going to do this. Hey, we got a little present. What does that mean?
Chemistry Bro has gifted 5 subs.
Hey, let's go. Tier 1 subs. Tyler Durden, Gata Life, Enzo Mining. Oh, those are all great people. They're here all the time. What a bro. We know he's a chemistry bro. He's gifting those subs. So, well, that's the other thing that is ironic about today is 1 year ago today, Bitcoin was at an all-time high. $69,000 Bitcoin price just 1 year ago today.
Exactly today?
Exactly today. 365 days later, here we are watching it fall off the cliff at 16,700 right now. Brian, I know in the past we would always debate about low prices for Bitcoin. Oh, if the price gets here, I'll do this. If the price gets there, I'll do that. Any targets, any numbers you're watching right now as all this stuff unwinds, and how low can we go? We're sitting at 16,693 right now.
Okay, so I've been saying for the last 7 months, probably 14.5 could be the bottom. Now that was even without any major black swan events happening. I mean, maybe one. I feel like we had, like with Luna and this, it's like 2. I'm kind of readjusting that to be like maybe 12 is the bottom here, and I still think we could even wick to 9,800 for less than 30 minutes, and it popped back up to 12. So that's kind of my pick for the bottom. Originally, I've been saying 14.5, but this is pretty negative news that could cause a catalyst effect for several other things. So I'm readjusting that to 12, and I'm never putting a wick down below 10 out of the picture.
There you go. Here, just for perspective, guys, this is what we've experienced over about the last year, all the way up here, and this right here is right around November 9th, 8th,
Look
9th,
at that
10th.
chart.
Yeah, and then
massive
all
support
the way
at
down.
10.
Yeah, massive support at 10. Right here, which we know we traded at, right at like 10, 10.5. We traded at this level, which I don't know if you guys can see that here. See if I can draw a line for you.
Hey, TJ.
Yes, sir.
Since we both have E90s that we don't drive, you want to sell both of our cars and buy a Bitcoin?
Well, that's what I was just gonna.
Just got old cars.
I actually, to be fair, I did give my car to my brother, so I can't sell it anymore, the E90. But
we could take it back.
Well, that's not very nice. Nobody likes an Indian giver, but.
Speaking of prices, Saxum said, "What are the lowest price ranges you guys are looking to get some ADA?"
Ooh, ADA. Well, that's fun. Let's pull that up. BJ, you have a target for ADA? I roughly, just off the top of my head, I was thinking
want
around
3 cents, but
I was thinking 20, but I don't even know.
19.
I don't know if we drop out of 30 cents again. I want us to, but like
we will.
I don't know.
20,
yeah, I think we will. Honestly, I'd buy anywhere. Like what DZ was saying the other day, if you buy right now, you're still what, a 10x or whatever, going back up to $3 plus everything else. Plus it hit that $3 at the top with pretty much like no utilization yet. We didn't have the Vassal hard fork, like we didn't have the NFTs, we had none of that. So I don't know. I'd buy anywhere, but 3 cents would be
Yeah, I mean, 30, it is very similar. I feel like 30 cents for Cardano is kind of like 17 for Bitcoin. There's not, you know, it's a quick fall to 19, 19 you know, once you fall off this ledge. And as we all know, alts tend to follow Bitcoin. So even if you thought your alt was holding up okay, you know, when Bitcoin is doing this, like
It'll
it's just
still go down.
You know, like, and here's the number I'm looking at right here. This is where Brian was saying there's just really strong support, whether it was from previous cycle to bear market to pump rain, you know, and then obviously we got into breakout discovery here, new all-time highs and all that. But if we fill back down into this range, which if you see this fall here, you know, this is 75%, right? From there all the way down to here. And that last 10%, that last 75 to 85% here,
hurts the most.
That's the max pain. You hear everybody talk about max pain. You hear everybody talk about capitulation. You hear, like, that's what Frank and I were talking about this morning. It's when your friends that you thought were all in on crypto, and even after Terra Luna, even after Voyager, you didn't hear crypto's dead a lot. You didn't hear it's not coming back. You still heard about Google getting involved. Everybody was still talking Web3. They were talking about, oh, this is definitely moving this direction. It's now that you're starting to hear people say, you know what, I'm done with crypto. You know, I can't do this. It's too painful. Yeah. You know, I'm going back to stocks. I'm going back to whatever. And
except for everyone in the chat, they know what's up.
Yeah, that's right. Except for the blockchain basement crew. The basement dwellers always know. You know, hey, we're getting some really good accumulation zones right now. So they've got 10 cents for ADA. Anything under 30 is ridiculous price. I tend to agree. I need Matic to get back to 35 cents. Matic ain't going back to 35 cents. Yeah, I tend to agree.
You know the best part about being dead inside?
What's that?
I don't feel any of this pain.
That's right. And that's one of the advantages of sticking in crypto. The longer you're in crypto, the less you actually feel any emotion. So
yay!
Before I got into crypto, though, I was just planning on an economic collapse.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, have at it. Go down. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm really glad that's a great point. I'm really glad you said that. I was very bearish on the world, on the United States, on kind of humanity until blockchain and crypto.
Right.
I was like, you know what? It's all going down. We might as well just, you know, roll with it. I mean, there's nothing we can do to stop it. And then blockchain, and you guys have heard me say this before, Bitcoin and blockchain gave me hope.
Yeah.
Hope for a better future, hope for options, hope for an exit, hope for a path to a better life where humanity isn't ruled by rulers and slave leaders who are just trying to get the most for themselves. And I think blockchain gives us that opportunity, which is why we're here every single day, which is why we put so much energy into sharing all this information with you. And it's fun. That's right. Crypto for life, boys.
CZ,
like
it is.
CZ.
Oh yeah, he's rooting for CZ too. There we go. So, well, stocks for the tax shelter accounts always, but other than that, crypto and real estate. I'm with you, Urkelson. Crypto and real estate's where I'm at. Blockchain technology is our best way to break broken class system. I agree. Yeah, and so like to your point, Drew, there wasn't much to be excited about before crypto, and so now look, crypto has given us a new sense, a new lease on life, a new hope, a new direction, and some fun new toys, some fun new people, some fun new relationships. Like it's brought so much positive life into my personal experience. There's no going back. And yeah, we might pump and it's great. We might dump and it's painful. But I still feel like we're moving towards a much more positive future than I had envisioned before blockchain. So
absolutely, like that's what comes to my mind with this transparency talks coming about and starting to becoming a forefront, you know, conversation. That's what my intention is. I want to be putting my, you know, fiat dollars into a blockchain system that's transparently viewed by everyone. And if enough people move that direction over 20 or 30 years, we might see governments governed by digital assets. Imagine how many less wars or warheads are sent if you have to put that up on a public ledger and the people are paying attention. You have a finite amount of money to work with. Things can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I
so,
have a question.
All right, hit us.
Mike Drill said, am I getting this right? FTX basically went down because CZ sold his FTX bags?
FTT.
No.
Not exactly. No, I mean, yes, that was maybe the straw that broke the camel's back. He was selling more than just FTT bags. Obviously, they were exiting Alameda completely. They were one of the first equity backers, one of the first ones to launch Alameda and FTX when it was getting going. So they were exiting that position, and part of that was billions of dollars worth, or at least hundreds of millions of dollars worth of FTT that he didn't think the market could hold up. And they had some questions. Basically, they had feelings that something maybe isn't all that they were claiming over there. And then when that lack of confidence from somebody like CZ stirs other major investors. And I think the report was that I read this morning that FTX experienced a total of $6 billion of withdrawal requests within a 24-hour period. So that's not just CZ. That's big money investors behind it that were all trying to get their money off. And that's part of what I want to look at. You know, I couldn't find the graphic, unfortunately, but I've seen it a couple different times that showed DJ at, what are you trying? Oh, you're doing our socials.
Supposed to do that as a single block. God damn it.
Didn't work. Hey, language. It's the basement, but still a family show-ish. I don't know. We're not sure how family this one is.
It's a trap.
BJ at Biscuit Jesus. So, but just to touch on it, some of the big investors, Tiger Global, BlackRock, Sequoia, SoftBank, of course, they're always in the middle of this stuff. Lightspeed, Temasek, which I'm going to touch on that one a little bit later. All privately held FTX pending sale to its rival Binance could suck out billions in net worth, not only from FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried's fortune, but also from a deep bench of blue chip investors in the digital currency space. Bloomberg, this was part of it. Sam Bankman-Fried stands to lose $13.6 billion in net worth. You know, on Tuesday's surprise announcement. Yeah, he went from being worth approximately, well, this was even more than, I think it was
14 point.
Yeah, it was 14 and change because he was worth approximately $16 billion, and they dropped him all the way down to $990 million within 24 hours yesterday. So fastest, one of the fastest net worth changes of all time. He's not even a billionaire anymore.
That's what happens when you have a Walmart haircut.
Well, it's what happens when so much of your net worth is wrapped up in a token that you completely control, and then everybody realizes there's not actually that much liquidity or value there, and so it's gonna, it's gonna evaporate overnight, just like it propped up overnight. So, all right. Well, let me finish reading. Save that question from Crypto B1 because I do want to talk about Crypto.com. They are that next tier down. There are rumors they do have their own token that they could be doing this stuff with. So let's come back to that one. But I did want to dig through. The private investors included I touched on all these. Sequoia, Ontario's teachers pension plan.
No.
Wow, that's
you're messing
brutal.
with pensions. That's when the gloves come off.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This stuff's gonna get nasty.
That's when the gloves come off the governments when you mess with pension funds. That's
a spokesperson from BlackRock did not reply to the inquiry. Investors were part of a group of 69 that took part in the $421 million funding round in October of 2021. That was the latest one, 24 billion. Let's see.
Wow.
By September 2022, FTX valuation reportedly had climbed to 32 billion, and as the company started an additional billion in fundraising, yeah, it's crazy. They just raised and raised and raised. Now here's some interesting updates. I saw this. Obviously, people are unstaking Solana like crazy. In about 20, this is as of 8 this morning. In about 20 hours, there's going to be a staggering amount of Solana hitting the markets. I think it's roughly 18% of the entire supply. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now that could be to help prop up Solana and try to use it for liquidity. It could, but if it gets market, it could be an OTC deal. Right. But if it gets market sold, that price is going to dump so fast and so hard, it's not even funny. So
yeah, Solana is basically the bipolar ex-girlfriend we all used to have. Don't trust her.
Yeah, there's not a lot to trust here. There's another interesting thing here. Again, hot rumors. Few hours before the Binance statements, FTX requested a $1 billion rescue from Silicon Valley and Wall Street millionaires. So like while all that was going on Twitter, apparently they were on the phone like crazy trying to cover all of these, get these holes covered. We did cover this morning. FTX legal and compliance, and their entire legal and compliance team just resigned this morning. It's looking like it's going to get ugly.
Things are looking grim.
Yeah, it's getting grim across the board.
Question.
Yeah.
Who got screwed worse in this, the everyday person, as like I'm talking like specifically FTT, or like big money? Like I think generally like with the Luna there was a lot of big money, but there's also a lot more of the everyday person. Is this any different, or is it kind of the same?
I think it's different. I think when being able to bring up pension funds involved, I mean there is in insurmountable. I don't know the exact number, but pensions make up a very large portion of our financial setup in America. So
well, luckily they were Canadian, but so I would say
yeah, that's true.
It's definitely, so you're asking like who's getting hurt, retail or kind of institutional money, and this one it's both. I would say. Terra Luna did have a lot of retail. Obviously, it had a lot of hedge funds and that stuff, but it was mostly like crypto hedge funds. This one is hitting main institutional money a lot more. Like that's what I'm saying. BlackRock, SoftBank, you know, those kind of companies, Vanguard, those kind of companies don't like taking hits. Like they'll take a hit on the stock market, but they feel like they have complete control over that. That's why I think we're going to see a lot of political fallout from it, because they don't like to take these kind of hits. Celsius lost a bunch of funds in Quebec too. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of these, it's interesting. A lot of the Canadian pension funds getting wrapped up in this, and Canada is kind of the quiet, overlap in all of this between the CCP and United States and crypto and mining, and, got all this stuff going on in Toronto, and it's very strong CCP influence there. That was a lot of people are questioning both SBF and CZ on. So it's similar. So I would say it's this retail got hit hard, but it's not like your everyday retail. It's not the guy with a few $1,000s that's trading crypto. It's a retail crypto trader. He might be doing 7-8 figures, but he's not a quant fund. He's not a VC firm. He's just doing a lot of weight, because FTT specifically was designed for large volume traders. That's what they did, was they supported institutions and big money. So I feel like the percentage wise, it is smaller than like a Terra Luna or a Celsius as far as quantity, but the volume is going to be massive. It's because it is institutions, and I think very like whales, really big traders. So it's going to be some brutal fallout. And yeah,
one thing that just came to my mind is, do you think that, I know that our government's kind of in the midst of trying to put together a regulation plan for crypto, in essence. Maybe this transparency call might be built into that kind of legislation through responding to the executive order of Biden, that transparency on exchanges might become like a focus of the incoming regulations. I could see that definitely.
Oh, absolutely. I think it should be. And I think, like I said, that's a positive thing, because that's moving us in the right direction, where banks, there isn't a ton of transparency into. So if we can set a new standard where transparency is the basis, I think it's going to be great. One thing that makes it very interesting is obviously both Binance and FTX have completely separate companies that operate here in the United States, Binance US and FTX US. Those are completely unrelated to this, completely unaffected by this. So with that being the case, how much say do you guys think US regulations, SEC, Department of Justice, CFTC, I mean, obviously they're using their jurisdiction because US consumers may have been using these products, but do they have a say in this kind of acquisition when it's a global international thing, and FTX US and Binance US are completely separate? What do you guys think?
I would say absolutely yes.
Okay.
Like, we're the world reserve currency, and it boils all the way to the top. But I mean, we are the funders of NATO and NATO's hardware and a lot of the backing for UN. We have a
We're
lot
allowed to say that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for
I think
now,
I'm
you
allowed to
never
say
know.
that. Yeah, but yeah, I think that we have the heaviest hand across the globe when it comes to that kind of. I mean, you saw what OFAC can pull off, right? There's some things there's some strings we can pull.
So let me ask this: if they don't allow the Binance acquisition to go through, do you think we could see a scenario where the big investors come in and bail out FTX? Like somebody says, what if the government bails out FTX, or some of these major investment firms? Do you see something like that happening and playing out? A bailout?
Buffalo Bill.
Am I Buffalo Bill?
Did you see so?
I was wrapped up thinking. Tell me the question again. I was thinking about putting lotion on skin and stuff. So, give me the question.
Or it gets liquidated again.
Oh gosh, type of biscuits.
It was relevant.
Yeah,
we had to.
Yeah, and some at Razmataz said, yeah, a lot of big CT accounts been talking about being on FTX. Yeah, 100%. All God Trading is the one I'm thinking of. That's basically, he's been pretty distraught about this whole thing.
Buffalo Drew.
No, my question was, do you think these major investors or even the United States government could stop CZ or Binance from making this acquisition and letting big banks or big banking come in and bail out FTX and just take, the BlackRocks basically cover their investment, take a ton of the equity? They're taking it away from SBF, but they're getting their hand in a very viable player in the new financial system.
I see that as totally tangible and something that we might actually look to do to control the market better. Is being the United States particularly. I think that yeah, a BlackRock involved buyout would be something kind of expected, but maybe CZ will be able to pull it off. So it's all still possibility that CZ will pull out. It's not done and done, but it's just looking grim. And I think that there's a lot of large investment institutions like those Canadian pension funds and things are going to be looking for some type of savior. Yeah.
In my eyes, I mean, FTX was already like, that was their plan, is to use FTX for a lot of this regulation, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean.
Yeah. So then now it's like failed. So what are they going to do to fix that? I feel they're definitely scrambling right now. I don't know if there's some kind of way that they could. I don't think they can prevent CZ from buying it, but they can make it really hard, and they can make it easier, and come up with more money maybe to cover some of FTX insolvencies and pardon some of the things that are on the books or whatever, to now regulate it and make it safer for the people. So I think it's possible, but I don't think they can prevent really CZ from doing it.
I mean, if they want supposedly there's antitrust rules and stuff they could use, and I mean, supposedly CZ may not even want to go down this route at this point with the whole being that big. And I would argue I kind of feel the same way. Like if I was CZ and running a very large organization, I was the #1 in town. I was doing it better than anybody else. I had a ton of cash reserves. Like, why do you want to step into that headache? Why do you want to get into the middle of a U.S. that potential regulation battle, taking on other people's debts and all this crazy stuff. I think that's part of what got FTX into this position. It was, somebody said, it's amazing how fast they went around from being the savior and buying up all these companies to being illiquid themselves. And I think they got a little overconfident with what they had in the game that they were playing. And, it turns fast quickly when you're using your own project as collateral. And they thought they were doing great. They were acquiring all these different companies, and then they had their own liquidity crunch, and here we are. Where did it go? Mr. Techno Goody did say, though, I'll just say this, be very careful about all the regulation talk around this. Bad actors will use this attempt to subvert the decentralized aspect of crypto. SBF was a proponent of regulation, so here we are. And I would agree with that 100%.
Yes.
Somebody else tweeted out, like, hey, don't necessarily go too quick and crown CZ as the hero in this. They could be a team here, and this could be going 100% according to plan. If all of this crashes around all of this, Binance doesn't step in and do the regulation, and Binance doesn't step in and do the acquisition, you better believe we're going to have some heavy regulation coming out of DC around all of this now, especially with the major actors that are getting hurt by this. So it could be very strong regulation in the United States that could very much slow down the United States in this battle, which, who knows, that could be part of the plan as well. Thoughts on that, takes on that. And the other piece that's really interesting to talk about here, a lot of people that, if you're very into crypto, a lot of the big money for crypto, like Brian mentioned the Bahamas earlier, the other place that had become a hub is Singapore. Yep. A lot of big VC money in Singapore. Ironically, Binance banned in Singapore, so a lot of the money that was in Singapore was on FTX. Another possible bailout option maybe isn't the United States government, but we got a story here saying Binance, FTX bailout, Singapore government involved indirectly. So we'll come back to that in a minute. But Brian,
my question on what you're saying is, like, how quickly would CZ? It's like, it's not one of those things like you're going to snap in on seeing FTX, all these issues happen with it. So it's like, the potential for an orchestration between the two of them seems feasible. Plus, they know their books. They know what they did. They knew the fractional setups that they did. So it's not like they were blindsided by this, and yet they're acting like they were.
Yeah, it's really hard to know what's truth and what's reality in these situations, because they are acting like, he came out and said, like, he put out a tweet with the whole order of, like, look, he reached out to me at this point. This is what I knew. This is what I did, yada, yada, yada. It seems very casual and very relaxed, and, it could be, but it's hard to trust at this point.
Wouldn't you keep that behind closed doors? For a little
bit, they were throwing shade at each other like all week for like 2 weeks. SBF is a pretty easy fall guy, and pretty focused on crypto figure for the past month or so, since the bill broke, the DeFi killer leak, and all that stuff. And I mean, controlled opposition, I guess, is kind of the idea of SBF being the purposeful fall guy to create the need for legislation, and that's very within the means of how things have been orchestrated in the past.
If it feels like a Game of Thrones episode, it's probably scripted.
Mr. Techno Goody said, putting on my double tinfoil hat, what if FTX collapsing was part of the plan for government regulation of crypto?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they use Terra as a #1 step to say, look, we can't have algorithmic stable coins. Right. Now they can use FTX as like, look, we got to have a harsher regulation on centralized exchanges. They need to be more centralized. They need more government oversight. He also said, you know, this was a failure of a centralized exchange. Be careful of those who say more centralization is the answer. I agree 100%. Absolutely. We need more decentralization, more transparency, which is what crypto is all about.
NPM Lucky said, all this on the heels of that terrible interview is kind of suspicious. Like, it was suspiciously terrible. Like,
yeah, Urkelson saying it feels like a false flag. It is. Like, if you start unwinding the events and you know, again, they say hindsight's 2020. You start looking back and it's like, wait a minute, this is a very interesting timeline. You know, there's all kinds of other stuff that was on the verge of coming out, and it's happening all right now. You know, and Sam maybe potentially fades away into obscurity if, you know, like maybe he I think at this point, like, it's very clear they're trying to avoid prison. Everybody's trying to avoid not going to jail over what's clearly criminal action when it comes to money and the way you're supposed to manage other people's funds. And like, that's the ironic thing about it, is these were the people that were pushing for, let's do it the way you guys, the system does it. Let's do it like the way the traditional finance world works, when they were the worst offenders the whole time. Like, it's baffling to me to think that anybody would think anything close to what they're suggesting is the right path. But knowing regulation, knowing DC, knowing governments, it seems like that's the direction they're going to take. They're going to use it.
Conveniently, was somebody's #1 donor, so he'll probably be okay.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it interesting. All the political capital involved in this is fascinating.
I was glad to see that political capital disappear when I saw his valuation from 15 billion go down to 900 million. I was like, okay, well, there are probably going to be less ridiculous ads in 2024 regarding the election, because those cost a lot of money and a lot of donors. So
somebody said, was the last bear market this wild? Haha, this is my first time. I mean, yeah, it is. It's all on par. It feels exactly the same. I mean, back in 2017, ICOs were brand new technology. That was the latest craze. Everything was an ICO. And they're coming out saying, oh yeah, everything you've built this industry on, that's not going to be a thing anymore. We're just going to completely wipe it away. So yeah, China banning it, regulation, you know, that's why I don't freak out at Tether FUD. The one thing I will say through all of this is my confidence in Tether has gone up dramatically through this whole thing. Yeah. I mean, I think we had $200 billion plus of 24-hour volume yesterday, and it was like 211 billion of that was on Tether and 9 billion on USDC, you know, and that's with people being, you know, questionable about USDC. That's why Circle came out to say they didn't have any exposure to any of this. So did
Tether, because I remember this was a Crypto Casey forever ago, was not necessarily fudding Tether, but discussing how Tether is basically backed solely with commercial paper. And that was the huge reason this crashed. So could the crash of Tether, the way that happened, actually been fantastic? Because I'm assuming it's no longer backed by commercial paper and potentially
yeah, they've got all sorts of different assets backing Tether. Now, I think they came out with an audit the other day. I am still confident in USDC. I'm not buying a lot of that FUD, but my point is the Tether FUD gets less and less and less as time goes on, in my opinion. Whereas in 2017, it was, or 2018 and 19, it was a huge story of like, that was the thing they were using. Like, oh man, if Tether unpegs, the entire crypto market could go to zero. That was one of the big fears, and there was always people saying audit it, and they have. And I'm not saying I trust it 1,000%. I don't trust anything 1,000% right now, but
that's a lot of percent.
When I'm looking at stable coins, USDC versus USDT has done what it's supposed to do, and you know, I do trust it. So, but to answer that question, yeah, this is what a bear market feels like.
It's crazy. A little crazier with the amount of money that's in here, like, you know, like BlackRock getting hurt this bad. That hasn't happened before, you know, like, so it's a little crazier, but it's just
the numbers are bigger. I'll give you that.
Numbers are bigger.
We're moving.
Didn't you mention this is like the biggest loss of net worth in 24 hours
for a sole individual? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
probably
don't quote me on that. The Bloomberg thing. Yeah,
more than Lehman Brothers.
Well, this basically SBF individually going from 16 billion to 900 million, basically.
Great.
USDT did get rid of commercial. Most of it, yes.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Although I have a related question.
All right.
Razmataz asked, will Brett Harrison catch any heat from this? He tweeted that he was in the dark on all of it.
Yes. So Brett Harrison, was the former head of compliance at FTX, official, actually somebody who we were in contact with when we were trying to push positive legislation through. Stepped down, I would say, a couple of weeks ago at this point. I can't remember exactly, approximately 2 to 3 weeks ago. Stepped down as their, I believe, either head of compliance or head legal counsel, basically. I bet he will get. I mean, he's not going to be out scot-free. I don't know if he will end up having to do any time over this. He seems pretty agile, I guess you could say. But I think everybody's looking over their shoulder right now because he definitely, put it this way, he was not in the dark. I don't agree with him being completely in the dark about everything that was going on. Of course, they're going to say that, but what's going to start coming out in the future, whether, there's going to be a lot of investigation into all this, just like we saw with, a lot of other cases in the past. They're going to be getting in, what we're seeing with Ripple and SEC. They're going to be getting into emails. They're going to be getting into calendars and appointments. And like we saw this morning that Gary Gensler was meeting with Brett Harrison not that long ago. What was the subject of those conversations? They could say, obviously they were meeting about this legislation stuff and some of these types of things. But again, the timing of all of this, the severity of all of this, the irony of all of this, that these were the people talking to the heads of state that were supposed to be in charge of regulating securities. Like, he's over here fighting with Ripple to protect American investors while meeting with FTX, who just absolutely wrecked American investors way worse than anything Ripple's ever done. So that's when questions really start popping up, and right now we're getting more questions than answers. Every time we start digging for an answer, it just brings up 10 more questions. Right. And I said it on the stream this morning. I think if this is an onion, we might be 2 layers deep. There's probably 18 left. So, it's gonna get crazy.
It's gonna get hairy. We might have a little bit of time as these details get handled out, figured out. There's gonna be. I think we're going to be low for a while. I don't think we're going to get some big velocity up and you've missed your boat within a month. I think this is going to take a lot of investigation. There's going to be many specials coming out about it, and I'd expect to see a lot more heavy digging and pain, basically.
Definitely going to be a movie written about all this for sure. And that's the silver lining, is for everybody here that, you've been hoping that this could last longer to invest more because you're earning money right now to invest into crypto. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity. Is you got time as use cases unwind to really pick out, the better coins and altcoins and investments that you want to make for your future right now. So
Gata Life asks, will Coinbase and other exchanges be affected by the FTX news?
Not according to them, they won't. That's what they were coming out and saying. They don't have exposure to it. When it comes to others, that's the question. Who has exposures to Solana? Who has exposure to FTT? Who has exposure to loans from Alameda and some of those sorts of things that we're going to start finding out. I do believe Coinbase is probably in a pretty decent position. And this is why I have in the past always leaned on exchanges with legacy, which is a Binance, even though they'd be right at the end of that legacy. But you've got Kraken, Coinbase, Gemini, all been in crypto for a long time. I trust they have very strong balance sheets. I trust they have huge supplies of projects. They might have been early on, but they didn't necessarily create it themselves. So what?
Sofa.
The movie will be Fire Sale, produced by the guys that did the Firefest.
Yeah, there you go. Fire Sale. Yeah, that's a good one.
And TJ, if SBF gets away with the slap in the wrist, would you hire him?
I mean, they hired me. They'll let anybody in.
Yeah, we don't. Our vetting full disclosure, we don't do background checks here, so it probably wouldn't even come up. No, I did see somebody else said, how do you think this will color bull narratives for the next bull run? And it kind of tacked on to what Drew was saying, or both of you guys. Like, this is, in 2019 was the time to accumulate. We stayed between, the low 3,800. We traded between 7 and 10 basically for all of 2019. We wicked down once or twice there. But when it comes to bull and bear market narrative, I want to remind people this fits in the timeline precisely. We were saying bottom after midterms. Midterms were yesterday. We're bottoming right now. Like, it's going to be sometime in this window when we most likely bottom. How low will the bottom be? That's still up for debate. Are we doing it now? Is it 14? Is it 10? We'll see. But generally, after we bottom, we have a year of boring, and that's going to be next year, 2023. It's going to take us a while to grind. We're not going to go down to 16 or to 14 right now and be pushing 25 in a couple months, guys. It's going to be long and slow and boring. And again, that's part of the boring is also part of the capitulation. You've got that massive crash where people get emotional and want to leave. And then you've got the boring that just says, look, it's been down here for what feels like forever. It's never coming back. It had its heyday. It had its run. It's over. And you're going to hear that over the course of this next year. And you're going to question probably the end about this time a year from now, end of next year, going into 2024, going into the next Bitcoin halving. That's when you start questioning it in your own head. Like, wait a minute, am I crazy? Like, are all these people that are telling me it's over, are they right? Like, should I be moving on with my life? Should I be putting my energy in a different direction? And that's the meme of the guy with the pickaxe, you know, going right before you hit the diamond. Like, don't stop at that moment because breakthrough's just on the other side. I promise you, as painful, as sad as we all are right now, 24, 25, we're going to be smiling. And we're not all sad. We're hanging out with our friends in the basement.
Absolutely.
So
we'll still be here.
That's another really good piece of advice. Get you some crypto friends. If you don't want to hang out with us, you know, you can always hang out with us here in this basement. But if you don't, find another basement, find another friend, talk some crypto, find somebody who believes in the future, find somebody who's optimistic. Don't hang out with pessimistic people. What they say, your network is your net worth. You know, as cheesy as that is, I found that to be very true. You surround yourself with forward-thinking people that want to make a difference, that want to better themselves. You're just going to be inspired to make yourself better. So, you know, get after it. And I know you guys do. You always do. Crypto friends equals sanity. Very true.
Is Ben going to play himself in the movie?
Probably.
He's got to.
I don't know. That's a good question. We've talked about this before several different times of like who plays Ben in the movie, who play, you know,
Decker.
like Decker playing Ben. I love that.
That's a funny idea.
I love that. Decker as Ben in the new in the crypto. What would the crypto movie be? Oh, we already called it Fire Sale.
Hey,
Yeah.
and something that came to mind. At least we avoided a fake out rally.
Yeah.
Getting people trapped in like the hope of, oh, that was the shortest bear market ever, and I'm going all in.
No,
now,
that's
and
cute.
Then,
that's like,
you know,
March,
that's
April.
next
That's
year.
like May-ish of next year.
Yeah.
Don't worry, that'll come.
That'll still happen.
It'll come. It just, you know, for the time being.
Be ready.
We're almost out of time, but Shoots Girl asks, what's your favorite exchange?
Favorite exchange. That's for a few different things. So I listed something like if you know, we use Gemini a lot. I don't know if it's a favorite. It's just one I probably use the most. We've been using KuCoin for trading, like leverage trading stuff, and we've been testing BitGet recently. So BitGet, hey, did it work? Did it work that time? Put all the socials in there?
No
Nice.
spaces.
So yeah, BitGet is one we've been testing right now. We should have some links for you guys to get some bonuses on that in the future. But my favorite exchange right now is More Than One. Spread your funds, put it long-term hold in your own wallet. Anything you're trading with, don't put it all in one place. Withdraw gains, yada yada yada.
So
not
wait,
your keys, not your
besides
coins.
what's your favorite one, what do you think, in your opinion, is the safest one?
A ledger.
A dex.
Well, you're talking safest centralized exchange.
Sure.
I run out of exchanges immediately. When I buy on Uphold and I send it straight to a ledger. Like,
I'd say Kraken.
Yeah.
It's got to be up there. It's
I
one of the
figured
oldest.
you would say that.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest. I know they've got insane
Audited,
reserves.
transparency.
And I think Jesse Powell runs a business similar to the way CZ was. I don't think they hold a lot of debt. I think they've got insane assets. See, Coinbase, I think Coinbase is strong, but I think they're run a lot more like a traditional finance company. They're a publicly traded company. They've got a stock. A lot of their values tied up in that stock. When it swings, it makes them do different things. Kraken is not in that position. You know, Binance is not in that position. They've been in crypto for a very long time. And Jesse Powell, similar to CZ, was involved with the space from the very, not the beginning, but about as close as the beginning you can get for a lot of these major guys.
One more, since you said you wanted to come back to it.
Yes, I know
High.
Powell isn't the CEO of Kraken anymore. He's just chairman of the board, but that's as of a month or two ago. So I don't think they're going to blow. I think they've got billions and billions in reserves.
The question from earlier that you wanted to come back to was, what do you think about crypto.com?
Now, crypto.com, that's another one there's a lot of rumors circulating about. If there's one out there like that, you know, on your bingo card for, and again, not trying to scare people. This isn't FUD. This is just my gut. I don't have anything other than some conjecture and tweets and some information I see flying around. It's all unconfirmed. But if I had to pick a major exchange that a lot of retail people know as next on that list, it's gonna. I'd put Crypto.com before KuCoin.
Yep.
But they're both up there.
I've definitely seen enough rumors going around about Crypto.com to not feel comfortable. If I were on that exchange, I would not be.
Yeah, and you're just doing risk analysis. Like, what's the upside? What's the downside? How much money? If it's you're talking $1,000 that you're trading with, sure, trade with it.
Are they like the second biggest U.S. kind of centralized exchange?
No, I mean, Crypto.com's biggest in Europe. That's where most of their, like UK and
they're heavily marketed here, though. Like,
yeah, they're trying to grow.
Crypto.com arena, FTX arena.
Yeah, they're trying to grow.
They're spending money.
They definitely are spending money. Which is another.
Yeah, but I get locked out of their app all the time because it needs to be upgraded.
Well, and they're way, like, if you look at their volume, they're nowhere close to, most of these other exchanges.
That could be where regulators pivot to, though, too.
Yeah. An interesting thought.
Big in Germany. Crypto.com wallet safe. Yeah, any wallet where you custody it yourself, you hold your own private key is safe, guys.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't say any, but, do your own research. Use a safe wallet. But if you're holding your own keys, you're controlling it. That's the whole point.
Also, store your seed phrase in metal.
Those, the what do they call them? The wallet hodl or foldle? The foldle?
Well, I mean,
ledger foldle?
You're saying in a fireproof case.
No, like
right?
literally you get a piece of metal.
Etch it?
You etch it or you stamp it. So
what a pain in the butt.
It looks pretty cool.
What's more of a pain in the butt? Losing access to millions of dollars.
In a
Well,
fire.
yeah.
Like if you dog ate your
put it this, if you guys are in the chat and you have millions of dollars worth of crypto and you haven't figured out a good way to store it yet, then I feel like that's on you. But
definitely like cold hard wallets are my biggest thing. So.
Yeah, nothing Drew likes more than cold hard. I screwed it up. Never mind. I was just saying nothing better than cold hard cash and cold hard wallets.
That's right.
And gold.
That's right.
And gold.
Chicken.
And bullions.
And chicken.
Yeah, what?
All the things.
Muhammad Farah in the chat. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. It says, I think CZ is going to set a new standard for the industry and then shame exchanges that don't do it, maybe indirectly in order to force everyone to withdraw from exchanges and put funds on Binance. But basically, he's trying to set the standard indirectly right now, I think. We talked about that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, which is good. We need it.
Yeah.
Oh, what a day.
What a day. And hopefully Eric
Crazy.
Voorhees is coming out and kind of speaking to some of this stuff too. I hope people like him step up and set the industry standard. I know a lot of the industry kind of titans and legends of the beginning have got a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to dealing with regulators. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, chemistry. Like, look, if you've got millions of dollars at this point in crypto, you should know how to store it. Like,
I get so scared when someone shows me their account on Coinbase and there's six zeros before the decimal. I'm like, bro, you have not figured out how to hold your own keys yet? He's like, no, it's just chilling there. It's like, I mean, it makes me
might
sick.
be.
Yeah, it might be big time. But
we got a good raid set up too, by the way.
All right, who are we looking at?
Dr.
Oh, by the way,
DJ.
guys, just I do always want to shout out the other people in our group. We are going to have Evan Aldo on the show tomorrow, I think. And maybe Frank was even suggesting maybe he could start his stream time right after this so we could raid him with it. But also Crypto Weatherman, it's Joshua Jake also doing crypto content on here as well. So go check them out. They're in our group trying to bring more crypto love to the Twitchverse. So as always, we love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back at 1:15 tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be drama to talk about, but maybe not as dramatic as these last couple days. Talk about Robinhood.
Oh, things will be uncovered every single day.
Yeah, Robinhood got wrecked. I did see that on some of this SBF story. They took a pretty hard hit. So as always, guys, keep stacking. Don't FOMO. Use stop losses. Withdraw from exchanges. Buy Bitcoin.
Pet a puppy.
Get crypto friends.
Say something nice to your mom. I don't know.
Those are fantastic ideas.
Smile.
Everybody needs a smile. Give somebody a hug today, guys.
All right, let's raid Dr. Degen, even though his hair might be better than mine.
All right, let's get him, Dr. Degen. Let's go.
Bye.